When you think of Ferrari, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Is it the sleek design, the roaring engine, or perhaps the eye-catching red color? For many, it's the iconic prancing horse logo. But have you ever stopped to think, why a horse? Why not a lion or a dragon or some other fierce creature? Well, the story behind it is as fascinating as the man himself. The prancing horse was actually a tribute to Francesco Baracca, a heroic Italian fighter pilot from World War I, who had painted a similar horse on his plane. Baracca's mother suggested Enzo use the horse on his cars for good luck, and well, the rest is history. Interestingly, the horse wasn't always prancing. In its original form on Baracca's plane, it was rearing up with its legs flailing. It was Enzo who decided to make the horse prance. As the saying goes, a rearing horse is out of control, a prancing horse is a controlled power. And that's what Ferrari is all about, raw power perfectly controlled. From the prancing horse, we galloped back in time to 1898, to a small town in Italy called Modena. This is where our story begins, in a modest house with a boy named Enzo Ferrari. His father, Alfredo Ferrari, was a metal basher who ran a small workshop. His mother, Adalgisa Bisbini, was a hardworking woman who took care of the home and the children. As a child, Enzo was pretty fascinated by machines. He would often sneak into his father's workshop to tinker with the tools and parts. His parents didn't discourage him. Instead, they saw the spark in his eyes and nurtured it. At the age of 10, Enzo attended his first car race. It was a moment that would change his life forever. He was mesmerized by the roar of the engines, the smell of the gasoline, and the thrill of the race. He knew then and there that he wanted to be a race car driver. When Enzo was just 20 years old, tragedy struck. The 1918 flu pandemic swept across Italy, claiming the lives of millions. Among the victims were Enzo's father and brother. The loss was devastating, and he realized that life was too short to be spent on mundane tasks. He wanted to do something meaningful, something that would make a difference. And that's when he decided to pursue his passion for cars. But let's be honest, pursuing a passion is easier said than done, especially when you're a poor boy from Modena. Enzo was forced to leave school and find work to support his family. He took on a series of jobs, from fireman to metal worker, but his heart was always in racing. He would spend his spare time working on cars and participating in local races. His passion and dedication did not go unnoticed. In 1919, he was offered a job as a test driver for CMN, a car manufacturer in Milan. In the same year, Enzo's racing career began at the Targa Florio race. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with the Targa Florio, let me paint you a picture. Imagine a race that's not just about speed, but also about endurance and strategy. A race that takes place not on a smooth, well-maintained track, but on the winding, treacherous roads of Sicily. Sounds pretty intense, right? Well, that's the Targa Florio for you. Enzo entered the race with a fire in his belly and a gleam in his eye. He was determined to prove himself, to show the world what he was capable of. However, during the race, Enzo faced a challenge that would have made most people throw in the towel. His car's fuel tank began to leak. In a race like the Targa Florio, this is the equivalent of running a marathon with one shoe. But did Enzo give up? No. Despite the leaking fuel tank, Enzo managed to finish the race in 9th place. I know, it might not sound too impressive, but in a race as grueling as the Targa Florio, just finishing is an achievement in itself. And finishing 9th, well, that's something to be proud of. This experience only fueled Enzo's desire to create cars that were not just fast, but also reliable. It showed him that speed alone wasn't enough to win the race. You also needed a car that could withstand the rigors of the race, a car that could go the distance. In 1929, Enzo founded Scuderia Ferrari, a company that sponsored amateur drivers in Alfa Romeo cars. By the early 1930s, Enzo was a well-known name in the Italian motorsport circuits. He had proven his mettle in numerous races, earning a reputation for his fearless driving and strategic thinking. But as he raced through the streets of Pescara, Ravenna, and Polisseni, he realized that his passion for cars extended beyond just driving them. He wanted to be involved in every aspect of racing, from the design of the cars to the management of the team. This realization coincided with a desire to take on managerial aspects of racing. So in 1932, Enzo made a decision that would change the course of his life. He decided to retire from racing and devote his attention to managing and developing the factory Alfa race cars. It was a big move at the time, one that raised quite a few eyebrows. Retirement didn't mean slowing down for Enzo. If anything, it only fueled his ambition. He threw himself into his new role with the same passion and determination that he had shown on the racetrack. Now, it wasn't until 1947, after years of hard work and perseverance, that the first car bearing the Ferrari name, the 125S, was produced. It was a car that combined speed, reliability, and beauty in a way that had never been seen before. It was, in short, a Ferrari. The birth of Ferrari was a turning point as it set a new standard for what a car could be. It showed the world that a car wasn't just a means of transportation, but also a work of art and a symbol of excellence. Between 1955 and 1971, when Elvis Presley was rocking the music charts, Marilyn Monroe was lighting up the silver screen, Enzo Ferrari was about to take the automotive world by storm. The company, Ferrari, was on a roll. You can say it was like a golden era. The company was producing some of the most iconic cars in history, cars that made people stop and stare. By 1966, the world was introduced to the Fiat Dino. It was born out of a partnership between Fiat and Ferrari. The goal was clear: to create a sports car that was not just fast and beautiful, but also affordable. The Fiat Dino was a car that combined the best of both worlds. It had the power and performance of a Ferrari and the affordability of a Fiat. During the peak years, Ferrari sold thousands of cars, each one with a hefty price tag. The profits? Let's just say Enzo wasn't worrying about paying his bills. For Ferrari, it was about creating something extraordinary, and boy did he deliver. From the 250 GT Berlinetta, a car so beautiful it would make a grown man weep, to the 365 GTB4, better known as the Daytona, Ferrari was setting the bar high. There was also the F40, a car that was so ahead of its time. I mean, it's still considered one of the greatest supercars ever made. Let's not forget about 250 GTO here. The GTO. A car so legendary, it's often hailed as the greatest Ferrari ever made. Only 36 were produced between 1962 and 1964, and today they're worth a fortune. One was sold in 2018 for a whopping $70 million. Pretty good investment, huh? Driving a Ferrari is not for the faint-hearted, let's be real. It's a car that demands your full attention, a car that pushes you to your limits. It's a car that, in the words of Enzo himself, takes you to the brink of fear and then shows you how to control it. In 2002, the company introduced a car named Enzo, a symbol of Enzo Ferrari's legacy. This car was designed to embody the spirit and vision of the founder, a car that was, in every sense, the ultimate honor. The Enzo was priced at a whopping $650,000. But despite its hefty price tag, it was a huge success. All 399 units were sold before the car was even publicly unveiled. And today, the Enzo is considered one of the most desirable cars in the world, with some models fetching over $3 million at auctions. Ferrari has always been a company that looks ahead, and by 2030, they plan to launch several new models. Each one will carry the legacy of Enzo Ferrari, a poor Italian boy who dreamed of a billion-dollar luxury car brand. Today, owning a Ferrari is considered a high standard, a symbol of success. The prices of top Ferrari cars can reach several $million, and by 2030, we might be looking at even higher numbers. Enzo once said, "If you ask a child to draw a car and they'll color it red, that's all you need to know about the Ferrari." I mean, wow. And with that, let's wrap up today's video. On a personal note, I always wanted the 458 Italia from 2009. I don't know how I'm gonna get this car, but I'm not giving up. Because if Enzo Ferrari taught us anything, it's that the future is what we make it. Now we'd love to hear from you. Was there a part of Enzo's journey that really surprised or inspired you? If you could have any Ferrari model, which one would it be and why? Let's dream big. And how do you see Ferrari's influence in today's car world? Do you think they're still the kings of the road? Share your thoughts in comments below. And if you found this video useful, please like it and make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on our next videos. And as always, thank you for watching.